Hi, I'm Jim from jimthebikeguy.com. I'm here today to talk to you about headsets, specifically loose ones. This is an integrated headset and I'm going to show you exactly how this works, because a lot of my customers come to me and this is loose, which means their fork is clonking around in the frame. It's a very easy fix and I'm going to show you how to do that now. So before we carry on then, it's probably worth talking about how one of these works, because if you understand the principle, you stand a better chance of being able to fix it. And fundamentally what you've got through here is a big stack. So it's a stack of round things. Top cap, spacers, the stem, which also functions as one of these spacers, and that's quite important. More spacers, an upper bearing cover just here, which is this thing with writing on it that you can see. And then there's a hidden bit in here, which is basically a void that contains the fork. And then at the bottom of here, you've got another bearing hidden inside there. So I'm going to take it apart briefly and show you how it all goes together, because once you see it, you should understand the principle. So let's take the top cap off first and foremost. And with all of these things, whenever you take anything off of a bike, especially headsets, it's a really good idea to put it on a table next to you like that, in the order that you took it off, because it's so easy, especially with different brands. Some of them have got a whole weird arrangement of little tiny spacers and then like wafer washers and then conical things and this, that and the other. And if you put it back together in the wrong order, you stand no chance whatsoever of retensioning this headset. So anyway, so now we've got another stack of spacers, again, like that. So in a logical order, top, working our way down. Let's put them on the bench like that. Really good idea. Now we're going to take the stem off. 2 stem bolts. These are called pinch bolts because they pinch the stem together. So we'll drop the front off the bike. Let's pop that down there a second. Quite easy to do. Can be a little bit uncooperative, especially if it's been sat there for a few years. And feel absolutely free to just gently rest that on the front of the bike like that. It's perfectly okay. Underneath, we've now got more spacers. And because these were the other side of the stem, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop those there. So in my head, I've got, this was the top bit, then there was these, then there was the stem, then there was these. And then if we look back at the bike, this is where we really get to see, you might have to give it a little bit of a whack, what's inside. So effectively, we're going to try and get this back here. And if we can get a little bit closer, you can see that there is the upper headset bearing. You can hopefully see it turning inside. And you can also hopefully see, look how much the fork moves around when it's not tensioned. There's actually empty space in there, and that's for a reason. But this part here has a wedge underneath it there, which I'm sort of running my finger around at the minute. And it's conical and it's tapered. And you'll notice, so is that space there. So the whole aim of the game has got to be to get that conical wedge into that gap to stop that from happening. Look how bad that is. Imagine you're riding your bike and that's happening. You might be mildly terrified. So let's go back now and let's retension this whole headset. And as we're doing it, I'll explain precisely how it works. The overriding principle being, when you add the thickness of all of these things together, so that plus that there, added to that, is longer than that. So when I stack it all back up again, it'll sit just proud of it. So therefore, when I do that bolt up, that top hat there, that cap, has no choice but to drag this back up through the frame. So it acts in an opposite order, and effectively it pulls the fork up, almost sucks it up into the frame like that, and compresses the whole stack. You'll see it happen in a minute. So let's get that back down to where it should be. Don't be afraid of getting a bit rough with it. give it a quick feel. Already we've taken some of the waggle out of it, but we haven't preloaded the bearings at all. Okay, so that's one. So my next bit, if you remember, going back through in that logical order, was this pile here. They were next. Drop them on. Doesn't matter what shape or colour or anything they are, just put them back on in the same order you took them off. My next spacer is the stem, okay? So get that down there like that. Brilliant. Now the most important bit, which is where you'll see how the stack adds up to greater than the steerer tube. So I'm going to put these on straight away, and the last one here, and look how much bigger that is than the length of the steerer inside. If I move my hand sideways, you can see the bit in there that the top cap drives into is lost down inside this pack of spacers. So when I pop this on here, this is the top cap, that's the bolt. That bolt there drives down into that expander plug there. It might not look like that on your bike. It might look like an old-fashioned star nut, but it does the same job. We're going to drop that in there like that, and you can see straight away, look, that exposed bolt is how much longer this pile of stack here is than your fork. So, let's do it all back up again. And we are literally looking to take the play out of it. So we go finger tight, plus a bit. And all that that's done is, as I did that bolt up there, it dragged that fork up inside the frame, squished the whole sandwich back together, took all of the play out of the system. And a good measure is, put your Allen key in there. Can you turn the bars with the Allen key? Yep, it's not too bad. Get hold of the bars and the fork, give it a good wrestle. Ask yourself, does it feel like it's clacking around? Does it rotate nice and smoothly? Are the bearings not binding? So if you over tighten that, all that will happen is you'll crush the bearings and the bearings will stop turning, so you get the opposite issue. Yep, not too bad at all. The last part now is do up your stem bolts. Please remember to do up your stem bolts. Quite important that. But these are always the last part. And in reality, you would do this on the floor because you'd want to look down through the bike to make sure that your stem was straight, using the front wheel as a guide. So let's get that done like that. Pay attention if you can to the torque rating on the side of the stem. I'm just purely using an Allen key for the minute for the purposes of this video, but treat yourself to a cheap torque wrench if you need to. And a good final action with this, just to validate it and just sanity check it really, now would be take the bike out in the street, go and ride it up and down gently, and if you still feel like there's play, which there might be, because bikes quite often act differently in a workshop to what they do on the road. If there's still a little bit of that feeling of, you know, the forks clonking around a little bit in the frame, you can feel front end looseness, bring it back in, undo those again, put another quarter turn through the top, do the stem bolts back up again, go back out, try it again. That, in a nutshell, is how you tighten an integrated headset. I hope this video has been useful and informative. If there are any comments or questions, do put them in the comments below. Other than that, thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.